With F1's traditional summer break underway, now is the perfect time for us to put every team and every driver under the microscope. This week, we look at the sport's top 5 teams. Aston Martin was one of the big movers and shakers of the 2023 season, with its two-time F1 world champion Fernando Alonso rocketing to 8 podiums, 6 from the first 8 races, for 5th in the standings. But the squad's bombastic executive chairman Lawrence Stroll went into the 2024 season with uncharacteristically low expectations.
We'd like to go up from 5th to 4th, 3rd, whatever it may be, but just continue progression. We're a young team. It's, as I say, we just moved into a new facility. Our wind tunnel, which will be ready in September of this year, we're the last team to be running without their own wind tunnel. In 26, we get Honda power units. So we're on a journey to win, but every year it's about progression.
But the green cars in the back half of the top 10 in races surely wasn't in his plans, while Stroll's response in Imola to ineffective upgrades was reported to be volcanic, with additional components not providing a clear step forward, and the season's second half focused on understanding the car and preparing for 2025 with minimal regulation changes. Alonso, though, continued to show up his teammate Lance Stroll 9-5 in both qualifying and races. The strategic Spaniard also scored double the Canadians' points, 49-24. Mercedes began the year with bombshell news that Lewis Hamilton was off to Ferrari in 2025, and both sides were determined to close out the 12-year partnership with fond memories.
You know, we've gone through a whole heap together, so to finish on a high, it would be the greatest honor to be able to help them get back to the top.
But while the W15 featured innovative design details that stemmed from its predecessor's concept change, the squad remained stuck deep in the midfield until Monaco, where it introduced a new front wing. With the rollout of both cars in Canada bringing podiums, 6 straight to the summer break, including wins at 3 of the last 4 races, which enabled Hamilton to break his 945-day victory drought on home soil at the British Grand Prix, his record 9th at Silverstone. And again in Belgium, after George Russell was disqualified for his car being 1.5 kilograms underweight, a miscalculation by the squad.
We're really enjoying the racing now, we're enjoying the challenge. It feels like the team has a bit of momentum behind it, and we're hoping that we can carry that into the final bit of the season, continue to develop, and hopefully continue to win some races.
Ferrari began the year with realistic expectations, despite the excitement of Hamilton's iconic signing, with the Scuderia focused on consolidation.
We need to continue the progression that we had at the end of the 2023 season. We need to be able to score more points, to be more performant for sure, but to be more efficient, and it was probably the biggest weakness of last year.
Ferrari's momentum was there from the outset, with 7 podiums from the first 8 races, including Carlos Sainz leading in a historic 1-2 in Australia, where Red Bull's Max Verstappen retired with a brake issue. And a fairy tale in Monte Carlo, where Monegasque Charles Leclerc secured an emotional maiden Monaco Grand Prix win. Ferrari also had another success story in Saudi Arabia, where young gun Oliver Behrman replaced Sainz out with appendicitis and scored points on debut under massive pressure. But Ferrari's upgrades in Spain derailed its progress, with 2 podiums in the last 6 races to the summer break, and the updated parts removed at Silverstone to help smooth out the bouncing. Team boss Frederic Vasseur says the squad is now pushing like hell to bring upgrades for the second half of the season to close the gap to the teams ahead, Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes. McLaren remains the form team on the road to Zandvoort as top scorer at the last 3 rounds, including Hungary, where Oscar Piastri, with a broken rib, scored his first Grand Prix win after embarrassing team order squabbles. though McLaren Racing CEO Zach Brown, who was in Toronto, Canada at the time for the squad's IndyCar race, backed the team's judgment in a video later posted to social media.
Oscar, congratulations on your first Grand Prix win. Lando, you are a superstar, a team player, and drove beautifully. Clearly a very stressful race on pit wall. We raced as a team. We had some arrangements in place depending on how the race played out.
On its current trajectory, McLaren can close the 42-point gap to Red Bull within the final 10 rounds and claim its first Constructors' title since 1998. The Drivers' title, though, is much harder. With Lando Norris an almost out-of-reach 78 points behind reigning F1 World Champion Max Verstappen. Making Budapest, where he had to return the lead to Piastri, all the more painful for the Brit, despite the fact that he only scored his maiden F1 win in Miami. But that's the current pace of success at McLaren. You only have to listen to the Papaya team's pre-season expectations to see how far they've come in just a few months.
And I think if we can just kind of be in that battle with Ferrari, with Mercedes, and maybe some others, and just be close, I'm confident we can go from there.
Red Bull began the season large and in charge, with the squad coming off a record 2023 campaign that saw 21 wins from 22 races. 19 alone from Max Verstappen, though the Dutchman didn't expect his path to a fourth straight crown in 2024 to be as easy.
Yeah, I think last year, of course, we had an incredible year. We've won so many races and broke quite a few records as well along the way. So it's definitely going to be hard to try and do something similar. But that's also not entirely the aim. We want to, of course, win. We want to win the championship, but it doesn't always need to be record-breaking. Let's say like that.
But while Verstappen won 4 of the first 5 races, with brake issues in Australia, he and Red Bull had to increasingly pull out the stops to win in Imola, Canada, and Spain before the victories dried up. Meaning the squad needs to come back and return to winning ways from the Dutch Grand Prix, where Verstappen has not been beaten since the event returned in 2021. There's a lot going on at Red Bull, with its Works powertrain program on the boil for 2026 and top personnel heading for the exit, including design guru Adrian Newey and sporting director Jonathan Wheatley. And all this as it celebrates its 20th season of F1.
Well, look, it's an amazing story. The last 20 years, it's gone so fast. It's literally a click of the fingers. And to see all of these cars here, so many of them running up the hill, to be launched in the 17 as well. It's a big moment for the team, and right to just take a moment on our one weekend off to look backwards for a change instead of continually looking forwards.
The pressure is certainly on at Red Bull.